Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sue with Home Study with Sue, and today I am going to make some homemade biscuits. To start with, what I'm going to do is, I'm actually making more than one batch, but I am going to first grate some butter. And then after it's grated, I am going to stick it in the freezer so it's nice and cold. And it's 6 tablespoons of butter. And I already have my oven preheated or heating to 425 degrees. Once I'm done with this butter, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do the other one real fast, so when I start to do them, I can do them faster. I'm actually going to make, like, I do believe 3 or 4 different batches, because they only have 6 in them each. And I'm also going to do a keto batch, which I'll go ahead and videotape for you also, so that you have an idea on a keto recipe. Okay. Now I'm going to stick this in the freezer to get it nice and cold. Wash my hands real fast. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to line this tray up. Try this again. I scrunch up the parchment paper to make it actually sit straight on the pan. I'm just going to move this over to the top of the stove right now. Okay. So for the recipe, we need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. my 2-cup measurer. Sorry about that. And then I need 1 tablespoon of baking powder. One tablespoon of sugar. It calls for non-salted butter, and I use salted butter, so I'm not going to add any more butter to it. Combine all, okay, I already did that. Remove the butter from the refrigerator, and I went ahead and already shredded it, so I don't need to stop to do that part. And then it says cut or combine the butter into the mixture that resembles coarse crumbs. So I'm going to get the butter now. Okay, and it says to add the milk, which is 3/4 of a cup of 2% milk, and then use a wooden spoon or spatula until it's combined. Do not overwork. So once that is done, we are going to put it on a well-floured surface. Once the dough is cohesive, we are going to fold it along on its side, or itself. Okay, so just going to make it kind of a squarish shape. Then you'll want to fold it on itself. Rotate 90 degrees and fold in half again. And then repeat that step 5 to 6 times. So there's one. I'm going to squish it out again. 2. 3. I'm going to put some more flour down. I'm starting to stick. 4. 4. Get just a little bit more flour. How are you guys doing today? We're getting ready to, you won't see this until after we get back, but we're getting ready to go on a little bit of a reprieve from life for a little bit, and so everybody wants biscuits for breakfast, so that's what I'm doing now. Okay, so then after that, we will use our hands. Do not use a rolling pin to make the dough 1 inch thick. I need to get a pastry cutter. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it as close to each other as I can. I'll bring back my pan. I'm going to play with the dough a little bit more. One of these days I'll think about not trying to cook when it's so hot outside, or bake. So I'm actually going to wait to bake these until I get the next batch on the tray, and then when when those two are done, I will show you what they look like. All right, so this batch is the first batch that came out. It's actually 2 batches. And I'm going to go ahead and make another batch just like this. And then I'm going to make a batch that actually has some jalapeno seasoning in it, just to give my husband a little extra treat. Alright, so I decided to go ahead and make one of these batches of biscuits with jalapeno powder in it. So I already have my 2 cups of flour, my 1 tablespoon of sugar, my 1 tablespoon of baking powder, I need my butter and my milk. Here's my 6 tablespoons of butter, already grated. After I grated it, I put it back in the refrigerator. I mean the freezer. I have my 3/4 of a cup of milk, 2%. And I am going to use just about a teaspoon of jalapeno powder. And I do believe since I did that, I should probably put some gloves on. Use my mixing spoon again to mix it all together. Actually, it's a wooden spoon, but whatever. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put my spoon in my sink. I'm going to get some flour out here. Okay. Alright, I'm sure glad I videotaped this piece without being attached to the other, because it was actually something happened in the middle of my video and you didn't get everything. But it's the same exact recipe except for the 1/2 teaspoon of jalapeno that I put in, and I'll make sure I notate that in the recipe. Alright, so now we're going to make some keto almond flour biscuits, and I'm using Bob Red Mill almond flour, 2.5 cups. And then we're going to use a 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. It calls for 1/4 cup of salt, but I'm not going to use that because my butter has salt in it. And I'm going to, in a large mixing bowl, mix together the almond flour, baking soda powder, the baking powder, and the salt, which I'm not going to use, remember. And so I'm just going to mix this all together. Then it asks for 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, but mine's salted, so I'm not going to use it. Salt. I'm going to cut the butter into the flour to make it crumbly. And once it's crumbly, we will blend. We'll add the milk and the eggs. It'll be a 1/4 cup of milk and 2 large eggs. I already have my oven preheating at 350 degrees. And I've got my pan already, my baking sheet already lined with parchment paper. looks pretty crumbly to me. Go around just a few more times. Okay, I'm going to add my milk. And my 2 eggs. And at this time, if I was going to use cheese, I would add 1/4 cup of cheese at this time. Whoops. Okay, and then it says to drop 1/4 cup of the dough onto my baking sheet. And then we're going to use a spoon to make it roundish. And they're going to be 2 to 3 inches apart. And then we will bake them for 12 minutes. And before we bring them out, we will put some butter. After we bring them out and they're golden brown, we'll put some butter on them. Seem like some big biscuits that I thought they were supposed to make. It says it's supposed to make 12 biscuits. 3, 6, 9. So I'm going to make these a little smaller. All right, so then we're going to cook them for 12 minutes until the tops are golden brown. And then we will brush some extra butter on the top when we're done, and I'll bring you back. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and brush these with some butter, and then I'm gonna stick them back in for like 3 or 4 minutes. They look delicious. I'm going to try to get these closer to you so you can see how nice and golden brown they are. They look delicious. They smell delicious. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up. And as always, thank you for watching.